Hey guys, Eric Anielli again. It's frigid out there. It's single digits. It's got me Yeti full of hot coffee. That keeps you going. Um, Today, Beaumont's Juke's back. The one I put a timing chain on a couple months ago. That timing chain was kind of sawing through the block. I told her, maybe just get rid of it, but she's still running it. She likes it. So, because you can't tell how far that chain is, how close it got to an oil passage on there. If you watch that video, it came the whole way through the timing cover, and it went backwards just as far as it went forward. So yeah, and there is an oil passage in there, and you could tell it was going through it like a chainsaw. But it runs pretty good. I mean, no codes. But what the problem is, she took it to AutoZone to get a headlight in, and they installed it for her. And now if you just jiggle the wires around the pigtail, the light comes on and off. And I did notice it needs a front running light also. So I'm going to get them on there. And but the main thing what I want to do is hook up both these scopes, the Hs512 and the MicSig VATO. Now, I've never done CAN bus with either of them. I do have the digital license for the 512, so we're good. We should be able to see something on there. I tried this on there in Charger, but it was a 2007 and it did not have CAN bus. So I'm going to hook them up. We're going to just see what we get. I mean, like I say, I'm never here to teach you anything. About the only thing I could teach you is setup, where to back probe in. But mainly, if you're interested in these scopes, and I know whenever I was looking for scopes, I wanted to see, everything I could on one before I made a decision. So if CAN bus is one of your curiosities, and I noticed from the comments, a lot of people wanted to see that on both of them scopes. So hey, if that's what you want to see, I mean, I wanted to see everything. I didn't think there was enough videos on the Hscope, and there's more on them than there is on the HScope and MicSig. So if you guys are looking around this holiday season, taking advantage of any Amazon deals or anything on them, I mean, these videos are for you guys. Thanks a lot for all the comments and the support and the love, guys. I mean, it means a lot because I figured I could be out here for weeks and, only 2 people were going to be interested at looking at it, and probably one of them was going to be Aaron. All right, guys, I'm going to get that set up. I have a cheap breakout box. If you look at on eBay or Amazon, you keep seeing this one under different brands, but they all pretty much look the same. I never used it before on anything, actually. I don't believe I ever plugged this in the vehicle even to test it to see if it was good, and I've had it for like a year. But it does have the 2 OBD ports, so you can put a scanner in there, and that might be kind of interesting to actually watch the CAN bus as we command a module. Now, my scanner, it's an old, it's a MP808, old Autel, and it has a lot of bidirectional, but it doesn't have that topography like the newer scopes do. So, but I'm sure if we could activate something in the body module, we should be able to see CAN bus signals. Hopefully, but that's what we're going to find out. All right, guys. Okay, guys, I do have the breakout box plugged in, the CAN high and CAN low. The signal I'm getting definitely getting a network signal, but let me just show you a second. Capture. It doesn't look that good when you zoom it in. I don't know if this cheap breakout box is something we could even use for CAN. It's either that or it's something on my air. I kind of, wiggled things around, made sure everything's making a good connection. It has even the cord for the OBD too. I'm moving around a little bit. So it's and the other issue I'm having right now is the digital module. Whenever I open it and select CAN, there's no channel or anything to connect it to. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong here, but I did put a question in out on Hscope Telegram group. So see if I get an answer back. You usually do on there. Anything, I mean, always do on there. Anything that, they can help you with, them guys are great. That's one of the best parts about Hscope, and I'm sure you're going to agree if you go this route. Okay, guys, my tablet went dead yesterday, so I'm starting afresh. Today's Friday the 13th. It's also my birthday. Aaron got me a wireless microphone, so I'm going to Bluetooth mic. So hopefully the audio is going to be getting a little better on some of you. I'll clip it on my beard or something. I mean, hey, why not? But I'm going to just go at it like, these guys taught me so much real quick. It's kind of like a real cool birthday present too. Like now I could say I actually seen CAN bus on oscilloscope because I never have before. So, I've seen videos with it, but I know both of these scopes could do it. So yesterday I was getting a very good signal on Hscope with it. So I'm going to just go ahead and show you how quick it was to set up. My problem was the sampling rate. You have to put it on. It wasn't the highest sampling rate, but it was the next one down. It puts you in pages of mode, but I mean, you could get down there and see it in CAN bus and the decoder worked great. So I'm going to just show you how it's set up, what it looks like, and however you use this to diagnose, or that's something else. But I'm just showing you how you could get it on both of these scopes. This office chair makes it pretty nice to get in there and play around with the breakout box. Usually I'm upside down on my side, anything like that, but this one goes a little bit lower than most, so I find it pretty decent. This is just how I got it set up. I just got the breakout box plugged right in. I got Hscope plugged in. I'm on CAN high and CAN low, and then I'm using the signal ground. Just have that double stack. See, that's one thing I don't know if you could see with the flickering lights. The voltage doesn't seem very accurate because it goes down to 11 to 12, 11.6 to 12. I mean, but that really wouldn't be. If I wanted a voltage measurement, I'd just take it off of the 12 volt, the red. But all right, guys, I'm going to just, the screen recorder is always easier, so I'm going to just switch over to that and just, open up Hscope. Nothing's open yet, but it probably is going to have my settings from yesterday. I just want to show you. And I mean, I was back probing the DLC, just, I was getting such a crappy waveform, but what it all comes down to is resolution. Arthur on Hscope group, he just told me to bump it up to like 7 million mega samples and, boom, starting to actually read CAN bus. But it's not easy if you just go at it on your own. If you're trying to capture like a ignition waveform, now I know what page mode's for. Hey guys, just opening up Hscope, you see a signal, which that's good. Now we know on oscilloscope mode, if we see a signal, move on to automotive. What I have is 6,545 kilosamples a second up here, and Pete's 20 second roll. We'll go with it. I'm shooting in the dark here, so I'm just letting that go, and I'm going to hit the ignition button just to get some more modules active back here. See in here. Stop that. Then we're going to zoom into the pages. Okay, we see communication there. Now you change this channel. You have to change this to CAN high. That's what Dennis told me, and then as soon as I did, these modules came up, or these packets came up. And Arthur told me about putting the sample rate up that high. I was still down on 600 kilosample a second, but it does say rate too low down here. I mean, it was trying to tell me, but, Arthur straightened me out and he told me what to, get on there. I mean, there's the packets. None of them are, I don't see any blue ones. I do see the green OK up here in that packet. You see the numbers in them and the ID number. So it depends what kind of work you'd be using this for, but you definitely get the digital module definitely decodes the CAN bus quite easy. I mean, just turning it on. Once I knew to put the sample rate up that high, because these were looking like pulse sensor waveforms at 600 kilosamples a second. I mean, you'd have swore that was the pulse sensor. I mean, they were wavy, and but you have to turn that sample rate way up. That's not the highest it'll go, but okay, just for an experiment. I know. Well, first off, can we find any blue ones? Here's a blue one, but that's only part of this module here. We see it's blue. That should be healthy. It's blue, and if you go out, this one don't say okay, but it's green. Okay, now that was on the longer time base. That was on the 2020. I want to see what it looks like once fast. Well, good. We'll try 50 millisecond. We'll just let it do what it's doing. I'm not going to activate all the modules till I see if we get reading. So that was 20 milliseconds before. I had this on 50. I think I do the same thing. Here's their packets. That's pretty cool. I mean, for never doing CAN bus, I mean, being able to get them on there now, it's easier going ahead and, you know, there's a successful one. And you zoom in too close, it's not. But anyways, that's how we get the reading on this. That's pretty quick. Like I say, man, that secret weapon, that's a support. You know, Martin's on there himself sometimes giving you, well, he's on there all the time right now. That's what I mean. It's not like a support system where, you know, if you get this scope, you know, you get customer support. It's like, no, this is a community of people that, you know, are there to help you. I mean, they do this on their own. It's really good support. I mean, that's the part that you can't just really, you have to take into consideration when you're getting your first scope, because if you can't hook it up right, they'll tell you how. I mean, you send them a picture. It's the technology age, man. I mean, you could send a picture, say this is exactly what I'm doing. It's a Telegram app, so it's very fast, and it reaches a lot of people, and a lot of people are on there. There's a whole automotive group on there. I mean, there's, if you have any trouble capturing the waveform, or the way I look at things, as long as you can capture the waveform, you could always get help. You know, is this good? Is this bad? I mean, it's blue and it has the okay. That's what I've learned about CAN bus so far. But I just wanted to show you, if you were considering this scope and you liked what you saw on ignition, you know, and you do CAN bus work, that this is what it'll do. And it also has, under the decoder, it has UART, CAN, Morse, Modbus, and Lin. So that's the selection of what you'll be able to do. And I mean, the way the support has gone with this scope is, whatever comes out in the future, if it's possible, it's going to be made for this. Like any kind of communications, I mean, that they still work on different mods. You got like the phase rollers locking, and I keep going back on the Telegram group. I don't have a lot of time, you know, filming and editing, which seems to be the slow point, but you know, of just, you know, putting everything together. But I go on there and I read things that just, you know, the conversations, you look back, I mean, you learn so much stuff just reading other people's questions and then reading the answer from, you know, Dennis from the Gadgets playlist. He knows his scope inside and out. I mean, he's built scopes like this. He builds Bluetooth ones. I mean, you get some like down to earth, I don't know what you want to call it. It's more like open source kind of Android, you know, community of people that, like, you know, we're not bound by a license. We could use different products. It's all about making this better and making a scope do what, you know, getting the most out of it. But all right, guys, I'm going to switch over to the MicSig and we're going to see what that looks like. And just in case you're, you know, these are in your holiday wish list, get to see what they do. Okay, guys, all I did was switch over from Hscope to the MicSig. Now, I have it on the floor. The cable that comes with it is plenty long enough to put it in the passenger seat, or if you're doing any work under there and you need more than that breakout box, because you could have your scanner going too. I want to make sure that breakout box works, because these are, I still see these. I got this a year ago and I still see this make under different brands out there. So if you're considering it, I mean, they're pretty cheap. I think it's like $34 or something like that. Let me get my chair and scoot up. And then with the MicSig, if you just turn it on, the software it'll already take you to your, well, it usually does. Maybe I just shut it off. Yes, as soon as you hit the button, it'll blast open the software, asks you for access to the USB port, and we're on a starting test. So this button here, well, actually, I'm going to switch over to the screen recorder because it's a lot easier if there's glare in the way, and plus, you could zoom on your screen if you can't see on your phone what button I'm hitting. It's a lot easier if it's on a screen recording than if it's, you know, getting all this glare. Okay, guys, just rebooted right into the MicSig again. Now, this was open, but it's all under automotive module. Like if you went up to circuits and you were doing a 12-volt charging test, that's what it's actually going to set up. So you see charge and charge here. That's the preset. No matter where you left off, that's where it's going to be. So when you come back and you select network, and you hit the CAN high-low and hit OK. I mean, there's not much running right now. Let me hit the key, or the ignition. What happens if we extend that? Get a couple question marks in there. Zoom in a little bit more. We're getting no question marks, and we're getting different numbers on Hscope. They were color coded to tell you. I mean, the blue was good. We seen the OK symbol. Now, I'm not sure what you'd be looking for on this, but this is definitely in a different format. You could see it's definitely a good image. If you could tell if one of these sides was grounded out, that's for sure. And that should be quite obvious, but we've seen how much time Hscope could put on and still read the CAN bus. And we're on 50 milliseconds and it's reading this live. The further we go out, the more we're not getting nothing on the CAN bus but little red marks. Now, is that okay? Can we go more? We'll put on 1 millisecond. Let's just see if we could turn the sample rate up higher. We'll turn it up to 50 so we get 20 million up here, you see now. We'll just get a single screen and then we'll see what we could. You could zoom in two ways. This way, I could hit that button again. There we go. Now we're back to the beeping. I don't know if I like the beeping better in the blower motor or not. But on the zoom, you hit the hourglass. And this screen up here is your whole screen from this end to that end. And then you could zoom in finer. And yes, we're reading the canvas. So you could move up here. You could move this anywhere over. Like if you've seen one that just didn't look right or you're scrolling along. I mean, yeah. This thing got some resolution. All right. I mean, I don't know much more I could do to show you what it has. So if you're getting into CAN bus, I hope you know what you're looking for in the scope. The one thing about the MicSig, you could measure it all on Hscope, or you could have put on the cursors, or this is measuring the CAN high and CAN low. That's the presets up here. You could measure anything under the measure. See, it already loaded 2 of these. You could take all these off. You could put on whatever you want, any of these presets here for channel 1 and for channel 2 separate. But it left the high and low, so we know that the high on CAN high was 4.36 volts, low was 2.49. The high on CAN low was 2.58, and the low was 5.27 millivolts. So, I mean, those numbers are going to be what you're looking for. I'm not sure, like, 4.5 would have sounded more logical there if we're going for 2.5 here. But like I said, I'd have to look all this up. But at least you have something you can look up. And if you still can't figure it out, you have something to share. There's a lot of people out there that'll help you guys. Hey guys, I just wanted to make sure with these cheapy boxes, I plugged in Autel, and it successfully read the VIN number. I just want to make sure. Well, let's go to the engine control unit. Because I've never used this, and it's nice having the breakout and having your scanner in case you have to activate something that you're checking with the breakout box. So yeah, we got read the codes, no fault codes. Okay, so it makes good communication. So that was just, part 2 of the box did okay. At first I doubted it and I back probed it, and then I found out it was all my fault, as it usually is, that I was doing it wrong. And then I went back, I plugged the breakout box back in, and that's what the last 2 were using this breakout box, the images you saw. Yesterday I kept it back probed until I actually found an image, and it looks just as good coming through that cheap box. So that's definitely a win, man. Good job, guys, whoever built that. All right, guys, I guess I always try to tell things that I learned that I think anybody going through something for the first time is going to pick up on. I like sharing, things I learned. The first thing, the breakout box, this cheap breakout box, it did work. At first I doubted it, but both even hooked up to the scanner. You could do bi-directional tests with that while you're watching CAN bus activate module. So that's kind of cool. That worked. I mean, the voltmeter on it, it kept changing, too quick to be right. So, one other thing, the cords on both these, like the Hs512, that's all the bigger cord you need, because you're going to have this on the seat in the car behind you. Wherever you're working, this is going to fit. The MicSig is a bit bigger. So if you're going to have a scanner on that floor too with you, this you could lay flat on the seat, but it is bigger. But it does come with a cord. I mean, this is very long, type C to type C cord with ferrite bead on each end. This you could put in, you could put it in the back seat if you want. You could put it on passenger seat. It's going to do the job. But other than that, I'm very happy I got a CAN bus signal on both scopes that easy. I mean, I never did it before. And at first, I was just fighting myself trying to get a signal on there. And then all it took was a shout out to the HScope group. And, you know, Arthur and Dennis, within, you know, what, hour and a half, I was getting CAN bus signals on it. So I probably spent that's why I stopped yesterday. My tablet battery was dead. I probably tried for maybe 2 hours on my own. And then because I remember reading in a video or watching in a video the short time base. So I was using a very short time base, but I kept that sample rate at 600. You got to push it way up. Yeah, that's the tip that Arthur gave me, and it was that, and that wasn't even the highest that Hscope will go. So you still got more sample room. So that was more than enough to get CAN bus on that. The MicSig, all it took was hitting the button and putting it on CAN bus on automotive preset. Got excellent CAN bus on that right away. So I'm glad it seems like Hscope is much easier to learn on. If you're going for your first scope, Hscope is going to be the easiest to use. Plus, you got a community like that out there that if you're having problems, if you could send a picture, describe it, an error code. I mean, Martin himself's on there a lot, and he takes care a lot. I mean, he's proud of his scope. If you have a problem with it, he's going to tell you how to fix it, how to get around with it. Or sometimes he's going to just tell you there's nothing you could do about this. This is Android doing this. No, this isn't me. So, I mean, but it's always under development. The MicSig, I mean, the way I look at it, I'm getting used to using this. The MicSig software on a scope that's $1,000 cheaper than their, you know, the handheld units that actually have the knobs and buttons. Those are sweet. But you're learning the MicSig software. It's very easy to use. Everything's on that one screen. You could get to the presets, you could get to everything from the one screen, but there is a border the whole way around the screen, which does take off some of your full screen on that CAN bus, no problem. But if you got 4 channels on there, that's where you got to do a little bit of moving of channels. So that's one compromise, but everything's on one screen. So I love them both. I mean, I'd never want to pick I need both these scopes. All right, guys, I hope I, you know, answered a couple questions on a CAN bus with them. And, you know, if you're looking into these scopes and, you know, you want to get one, I mean, they're both great scopes. Got nothing but good things to say. All right, guys, have a good one. Adios.